Welcome back to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. We talked Guardians, more Guardians talk second hour as we move to YouTube.
That's a hell of a way to
streaming that hour at WKYC Plus. So right before we came back from break, I told Earl, you know, Chase DeLauder had his big league debut last year in the playoffs. A lot of non-Cleveland fans really don't remember that. Detroit fans might. But he was rehabbing in Arizona, and he gets called up and said, hey, we're going to add you to the playoff roster. And he thought his season was over. And then they put him in center field. He's playing his first major league action is in a playoff game. They hit the ball to him in center field, and he drops it, saying, welcome to the major leagues.
Hey, welcome to the show.
It's all uphill from here. All right, Mike, Browns owners meetings are going on, so we're going to get a lot of news nuggets from the owners meetings because we get access to the GM and the owners talk and everything else. So what was the big news made over the weekend?
There's a couple things. Jason Lloyd is in Arizona. Mm-hmm. He was at Andrew Berry's media session yesterday. He's going to join us later in the show and give us some of the insights. But we're going to talk quarterbacks in the YouTube portion. We talked a lot about the Myles Garrett contract restructuring, whether or not that signaled the trade could be a possibility. Mary Kay asked him yesterday about the situation. He gave an answer, and we're going to discuss if with this answer we can officially put this debate and topic to bed, or did Andrew Berry leave the door open? This is the question and the answer from the NFL owners meeting.
So can you state unequivocally that you're not trading Myles Garrett?
I'd say this, Mary Kay. Myles is a career Brown. He is one of the faces of our organization. I think we've been very clear, both past and present, in terms of our feelings on that. So I understand all the questions. I'll be honest, I don't really want to waste a ton more breath on the topic.
See, the bottom line says, did Andrew Berry shut down the Myles trade talks? Let's role play. You're Mary Kay, for the sake of this little act here. You're Mary Kay, and I'm Andrew Berry, and you asked me the question that Mary Kay asked Andrew right there. Can you unequivocally say that you're not going to trade him? So
Can you unequivocally say that you're not going to trade Myles Garrett?
Yes. He will never be traded. He will end his career as the Cleveland Brown. He is going to play his entire NFL career with the Cleveland Browns. Shut down. Over, done with. It's a dead topic. But the way it happened was, can you unequivocally say you're not going to trade Myles Garrett? Well, look, Mary Kay, here's what I can say. That's called posturing. Then that's when I put we love the BS transmitter. Mm-hmm. You put in the words as what was said, and then it comes through the BS transmitter, and then what I heard was, well, no, I can't unequivocally say that because he didn't. Mm-hmm. He had the opportunity to. He didn't. It may play out that he never does trade him. I'm not sitting here saying, oh, he's going to trade him. What I'm saying is, what you heard is what's the scenario. He did not slam the door on the possibility that Myles Garrett could and might be traded.
So
go ahead.
Doesn't mean he's going to trade him. It means that he left that possibility open because he didn't dismiss it.
So first thing first, happy birthday, Andrew Berry. I just want people to know, people born in 1987, we winning on all levels right now. So
it's 87
shout out to
babies,
you.
right?
But
Babies.
the irony is, I seen Andrew Berry Friday at the Cavs game, and I'm not making this up. I actually had a chance to talk to him for about 60 seconds. I'm going to tell you verbatim what I said to him. I am leaving the event level of the arena, going up to my media seat. On the elevator is him, his wife, I don't know who the other person is, and it's me. I don't know how it happened this way. I look up verbatim. What's good, AB? How you? He looked at me, hey, how you doing? And I said to him, I said, man, you can't do nothing without somebody thinking you about to trade somebody, huh? And he started laughing.
Well, that's GM.
So I got quiet before we got off the elevator. I say, man, look, I know like in the media we do a whole lot of clickbait type stuff, but good luck to you this season. And he looked at me, he was like, thank you. As if to say, for once, somebody got something positive to say.
Yeah.
You know, I was one of the people that was kind of pissed off at people, you know, taking that move he made last week and running with this wild speculation that the Cleveland Browns were getting ready to trade Myles Garrett. And what I saw in that clip was a GM that's honestly frustrated.
Sure.
Because I get the whole narrative of you take anything somebody say with a grain of salt. That's just life, right? But I can also see the other side of it is like, man, the internal frustration of possibly being, I don't know how many ways, how many times I got to tell you this is what it is and this is what it's not. And no matter what I say, you're going to take it, you're going to try to like dig through it and make your own interpretation of what I really mean versus just listening to what I'm telling you and letting that be that. And to me, I can understand that frustration of how many times I'm gonna tell you, how many different ways do I have to tell you this is what's going on?
Yeah.
I tell you, since you guys brought it, I like the way you approach it. Let me approach it from a different angle. The goal of a general manager is to accumulate good football players.
Plural.
Multiple of them, right? And for
many as you can.
As many as you can. And sometimes that will actually be a deterrent, because if you get rid of said good players, you have to then go back on the market and somehow replace that player and add more to it.
Right.
If you are Andrew Berry, just look at the circumstances he's in right now. I keep going back to it. Kevin Stefanski probably thought he was secure after last year, right? Because they said, hey, you know, we kind of swung and missed on the Deshaun Watson thing. We're just this is going to be a transition year.
Ownership claimed that.
Yeah, and then it wasn't a transition year, and he said he should have had more than 5 wins.
Yeah.
So now you've already seen the predecessor, the coach, be let go. You've also seen the predecessor let go, and you are now the guy who is in charge of the draft and doing certain things and moving up in the organization. Why would you believe that you have ultimate, this huge runway of time?
You shouldn't believe that.
No, at all. There's nothing in Jimmy Haslam's playbook that says you got unlimited time.
No.
So if you got Myles Garrett, I get the fact that you want to do a due diligence and getting people and doing the best for the organization and thinking about future draft picks and everything. But at the end of the day, getting rid of Myles Garrett, does not help the head coach that you brought in here. You just brought this guy here, and I'm pretty sure one of the selling points for the Browns was, hey, come work with the offense. Mm-hmm. Defense will be intact a little bit.
Sure.
And we don't got to do heavy lifting over that part.
Yeah.
Get that part together. So then the very next thing you do is trade Myles Garrett. So now you have a young offense, and now you don't have anybody to prop up said young offense. You got to have these guys ready to go. And you don't, addition by subtraction can happen in this league, but not when you're talking about the best non-quarterback player in the league. It's tough.
I think clearly he is that right now. I don't know. He's at the age where we begin to see decline.
Yes.
What is he, 30, 31?
He's 31, right, Mike? He'll be 31?
I'm confirming right now.
Yeah.
Myles Garrett is 29. He's 30. He turns 31 in December. So at the end of this season,
he'll play a football game this year as a 31-year-old.
Yeah.
I mean, typically that tends to be that. Now, everybody's different. Here's what we know about Myles Garrett. He's not everybody. He's one of one.
He's different.
When you look at Myles Garrett, you see someone that you've never seen before. You've never seen someone with that kind of size, that kind of sculpture cut, that kind of speed, that kind of strength. He's the freak.
Durability as well.
He may still be playing at this level at 35, but he may not be. Mm-hmm. We don't know. In business and in sports, there's a theory when you're going to make transactions. The theory is very simple. If you have stocks, when do you want to sell said stock? High. When do you want to buy stocks? Low. So you appreciate the gains. I totally understand if Andrew Berry wants to build in mechanisms for him to have the ability to move Myles Garrett.
Yes.
That's smart. I think that's smart business. And I think that's what was done here. What they didn't want to get themselves into was a Deshaun Watson situation where you can't move him. You don't have that flexibility. So I look at this as they learned from their mistake. When they brought in Deshaun Watson, they said, nope, guaranteed, 5 years, 230, promise. We've got no options. So when he flames out, he's untradeable. Who's going to take that talent at that price tag? And what assets are you going to acquire? None.
This is fire.
So I think Andrew Berry looked at that situation and said, I cannot put myself in that situation again.
That's fine.
It's funny that Jay just said
crazy.
that. Wait, it's funny that he said that because I was on a panel last week and Zach Jackson said it is very possible that Andrew Berry could be doing a salary cap experiment. Now, the frustration could be is behind the scenes, I'm trying to work in some mechanisms. I'm trying to do something different. I've talked to my other GM homies. We know what the projected cap going to be.
Sure.
We did experiments in the past. I'm trying to do this. I don't want to come right out and tell you all that. But that's what I'm doing. Leave me alone.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So, like, I get it. You know, the
he
media.
just built in options. Options are always good.
Yeah, and
we
I
didn't
get
have them with Deshaun Watson. We have
Learning
them
from your mistakes.
with Myles Garrett.
Learning
And I'm
from
not
your
projecting
mistakes.
that Myles is going to fall off. I don't think he is. I think he's the best defensive player for another 2 years, next and 27. That's how good I think he is, which would give him a 5-year window as the best defensive player in the game. Unprecedented. That's a long run as the best.
It comes to me as almost like a prenuptial agreement, right? The prenuptial agreement
it's a good way of phrasing it.
It's the negotiation so that when we don't really like each other, we already know what's going to happen. So in this case, everything is good right now. I think Zach Jackson said everything's good. Everything's good. You don't know how Myles is going to take it, right? Depending on what happens during the season.
What if they start 1-11?
So he's already requested a trade before.
Yeah.
So this gives you some sort of backup plan that says, I don't know how Myles is going to feel. We're at a good place right now. But in the event that Myles Garrett does not like what's going on, at least I have options for the organization and Myles so that we can get something from it.
And I don't blame Andrew Berry. As a matter of fact, I applaud Andrew Berry because I do believe, the definition of insanity is when you do the same thing over and over and expect different results. Why should they go down that rabbit hole again with a player where they have zero flexibility? He is, and I'm not suggesting that they're going to do this, but should the Browns decide that our window is not next year, because Jason Lloyd's been saying this all along, it's all about the new stadium. That's what everything gears for. Well, Myles won't be at his prime when we get to the new stadium. He won't. So if you come to the conclusion that the time is right to move Myles Garrett to get a boatload of pieces, and you're going to make your franchise better for the next chapter, I can't blame a general manager for doing that. We got great years out of Myles Garrett. We're going to get more great years. The big thing now is he has the flexibility to do that, and I think that's a good thing. Right now, as we sit here on March 30th, no, he has no plans of moving Myles Garrett. But when we acquired Deshaun Watson, if you would have asked the Browns a year from now, you think you're going to need a parachute for this contract? They would have said no. That's why we gave him 5 guaranteed. And they got stuck holding the bag.
Last thing on Myles, it's to this conversation, but it's not. You hear a lot of fans, some media talk about his age, right? And he's getting up there and production can fall off. I would just caution people with this ageism thing, because 30 years old in the NFL or in any sport in 2026 is not the same as it was in 2006, 1996, or 1986. Nutrition is different, medicine is different, technology is different. And how it is, how they always say it's something in the water. Mm-hmm. It's something in the water with these younger people. And I get the data and I get what history says that people start to fall off after a certain point. But we so quick to look at somebody that's 30, 31, and we instantly go into this ageism conversation as if just because you're that age, you can't be productive. And that's not always the case.
I agree with some of that, Earl. I do agree that the technology is better, and he's just a freak.
Yeah.
Like, you can't talk about him like you talk about everybody else, because he is just not everybody else. Like, I always say in training camp when he does the interviews with his shirt off, I'm like, why does he ever wear a shirt? This dude is a specimen.
It's the reason why they asked Andrew Berry, will he be at training camp? He's like, whatever Myles do,
he'll be ready come September 1st.
He'll be all right.
The thing with Myles is, Myles, I covered Warren Sapp for the bulk of his professional career down in Tampa, and Warren Sapp was another enigma.
Yeah,
Warren Sapp showed up, and you're like,
he don't even look like
who's the pudgy kid?
Yeah.
But Warren Sapp was the best athlete on the Buccaneers team. He just didn't have an athletic body. He didn't look the part, but blow the whistle and see what you get.
Warren Sapp is one of the best players
Warren Sapp was a freak.
At his position.
So,
one of the best players ever.
I would say even though they do play different positions, it's the same. It's the line. Myles Garrett is the other way. There's nobody else like Myles Garrett. Micah Parsons is a great player. But Micah Parsons is not Myles Garrett. He's not built like him. He doesn't look like him. He doesn't run like him. He's not strong as him. He's not Myles Garrett. So I do think if you try to say, well, and I'm guilty of this, when you hit 30, you've got your best footballs in the barn. And typically that is the mindset. With this guy, I would not apply typical to him because he's atypical. I think that we're going to get 2 more great years out of him. I don't think there's going to be a divorce unless Myles again gets to a breaking point where he says, I just can't do this. Yeah. I'm going to end my career like Joe Thomas. I'm going to come here and play 2 playoff games, and that's going to be, or 3 playoff games, and that's going to be a career. I can't do that. So he might get to that point. If he does, Andrew Berry now has a card to play where he can say, okay, we're going to move on, but we're going to make whoever takes you pay. And we're going to build our next generation of the Cleveland Browns with the talent we get from you. That's the way it's supposed to work. So I applaud the move. I get the English gymnastics, the interview gymnastics, where he didn't fully answer the question the way we probably wanted, but he's just giving himself a little bit of leeway. Mary Kay put his feet to the fire. Can you unequivocally say, well, no. You'd be silly to ever do that in any situation. We're gonna play this out, and we're gonna see how it goes. Our hope is that Myles retires here in 10 years and goes directly to Canton, and in the process wins us playoff games and makes us a contender. That's the hope. But if it doesn't play out that way, we know hope is not a plan. And if it doesn't play out that way, at least the Browns have some off-ramps to try to build some talent if we do move on from them. And I hope we don't.
All right, we got to take a break. When we come back, let's talk a little Cavaliers. They head out west for a road trip, but 2 of their key guys will not be making the trip. Which of the 2 injured Cavs is more important to a playoff push? We'll tell you in 2 minutes.